Most people would agree that the flooding 5 years ago was a defining moment for Nashville, marking triumph over tragedy. Images from the Opryland Hotel, Grand Ole Opry House, and a building from Lighthouse Christian floating down the interstate will be burned in our minds for a lifetime. It's why the Metro Public Library has put together a special collection to remember and to reflect. Today, the library showed off that collection, and News Channel 5's Steve Hazlip was there.
We could not get into our house till Wednesday.
It's a 25-minute collection of conversations.
Everybody wanted to help.
Photos and sometimes
they wanted to do something.
Painful memories.
The devastation, it was just so sad to see families that just lose everything.
Sally Cobb and her husband H.T. almost lost their home to the flood.
We were warned by the authorities that we should leave.
Their home was spared.
As a crow flies to the dam where it's all started, we were only maybe 3/4 of a mile.
Their son-in-law's business was not.
And the water was just in the street out front, and he went on home. And before he could get home in Gallatin, they called him right back. It came up that fast. By the time he got back, it was already in his office.
The flooding caused more than $1.5 billion in damage.
I was surprised it went so high up on Broad Street.
Thousands of homes and businesses were lost.
I worked really hard. Kind of kept them from seeing the house.
It's why the library wanted to chronicle this dark chapter in Nashville history.
There's things that are still missing, and we want people to know about that, but then there's also this sense of community that grew out of the flood and people coming together, and that is definitely still prevalent in Nashville today.
Yeah, I had a Jeep and I misjudged the area where I was driving, thinking that I could get through, and my vehicle actually started floating.
Even though Art Bozier was a flood victim, it's the sense of community that he remembers the most.
A random guy, according to what he said, came to him and opened up his trunk and asked, "Did you need clothes?"
So I had a guy who was just saying, "Hey man, you need any clothes?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess so. I don't own it anymore."
And he clothed them. You know, people were feeding people.
It's why people write reflections on a special wall, so people remember not just the pain, but the gain the floodwaters brought 5 years ago.
You really don't know who your neighbor is until you have a situation that causes the best of people to come out.
Steve Hazlip, News Channel 5 HD.
The video presentation was only available today, but you can see the hundreds of photos and hear all of the audio interviews anytime in the main library Special Collection Center.